Mr. PÁEZ, can you tell us more about the debate on the FTT in Latin America?
Well, we have already a lot of initiatives around this. For example, in Ecuador, we have already implemented that, and we realized that it was not enough to have just this tax on the flows of the international transactions, but also in the stocks. And we have to accompany this with some measures in terms of prudential regulation and the taxing system around the information recollection in order to avoid the loopholes in the implementation of the tax. You know, in other countries we have several partial measures, and the population in Latin America and the policymakers are aware of the importance of this. However, it's very difficult to have this type of taxes without the retaliation, without an international commitment, because of the retaliations of the financial speculators.
Will the FTT have an impact on reducing the number of harmful speculative transactions?
Yes, the FTT is designed basically for the very high frequency trading and for the small type of transactions related to small increases in the revenues. However, it's important to accompany this type of initiatives with the whole set of regulatory and transaction taxing system in order to avoid distortions. Right now we have important distortions in the commodity markets that requires additional measures like banning short selling, banning the long-term positions on behalf of the speculators, especially in the food markets and the energy markets, in order to avoid the dangers for the financial and macroeconomic stability of the south and the peripheral countries, but also in order to avoid immediately jeopardizing the provision of food for the most vulnerable segments of the population.
Will ordinary people be hurt by the tax, or just financial market players?
Oh, by the contrary, one of the necessary, although not sufficient conditions, in order to create the possibilities for deploying full employment policies both in the north and in the south, pass through the implementation of the FTT in order to reduce the incentives for speculative investment. That has to be complemented with several other measures that could not only address the situation of the financial markets, but also to create a new condition of production. Right now, as we are talking, the European Union is pushing, for example, for the FTA agreements with South America, with Latin America, under the disguise of economic partnership agreements. Under those predatory conditions, the real consequence is going to be the Africanization of Latin America. And at the same time, they are trying to push the structural adjustment policies in the peripheral countries in Europe that are going to Latin Americanize the situation in order to create a dynamic of permanent crisis. With this asphyxiation, this permanent asphyxiation of the productive markets, you don't have any other possibility that the exacerbation of the speculative and short-termism in the behavior of the investors.
Add your voice.
Sign the call to action.
Join the campaign.